Okay. Good evening. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm Anna Hughes, and I am your Superstar Director of the Flash family of teams. Tonight is Thursday, September 24th, and we have special guest Kande Hein with us tonight to talk about the importance in preparing for LTOs, limited time offers, and how to bank in on that. And I'm super excited to hear from her. But first, we're going to do a quick little bit of recognition for some people who are very close to promotion. For my team, I want to shout out Vanessa for her promotion to Star Consultant, but also for on Promotion Watch, we have Jennifer Warren for Superstar Consultant, Jessica Butler to Star Consultant, Crystal Lynn Sato to Star Consultant, and Rebecca Van Ness to Lead Consultant. So we're watching you guys. Shout out from me. Alyssa, you want to do yours for your team?
I have one, and her name is Ashley Ford, and her team is 725 PRV away from promoting to Star Consultant. Yay!
Brittany, you want to do your recognition, girlfriend?
Yeah, I have two. I have Stacy, who is 43 PRV away from Star. And Shannon is 776 PRV away from Star.
All right. Jenny, Steph, or Tammy, if either of you guys have anybody on the verge, just go ahead and pop in. All right. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and let Kande take over. Kande is amazing. I had no idea that she had $10,000 worth of pre-orders for September 1st when we are launching the Harvest Collection and the Jack Skellington items. That is insane to me. That's like almost director's numbers by yourself on the first day of the month. That is mind-blowing. So I'm so excited to hear about how she accomplished that, and I'm sure that you guys are too. So without further ado, go ahead, Miss SSD Kande Hein.
Thanks so much. So I'm also just blown away because I'm not one that has those crazy numbers like that. So I know sometimes you hear and they're like, yeah, that's what I do every month. It's not what I do every month. I'm a 2,000 every month person. And I also want to just preface it by saying that I'm not necessarily a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I didn't have a following. I didn't do any affiliate marketing. So everything that I'm going to share, which I'm going to share 10 things that I did and that you can do, is things that I just strategically chose to do and hyper-focused on. So those $10,000 worth of sales were all in Jack orders. So they weren't Harvest Collection. So I literally hyper-focused on the Jack Nightmare Before Christmas collection for the full month, almost exclusively. And so, like I said, I'm going to go through these options that you can do. And you know, in marketing, really it takes several times of touching someone before they take action. And so you always have to remember that in your marketing, and knowing some of these things ahead of time, you can be really strategic. So as you're thinking through, as you're listening to what I'm talking about, grab a calendar, think through the Villains collection in particular, and think about how you would implement some of these things, choose what you want to do, and start kind of penciling in where you would do some of these things. And then after the call, that will be your next step, is to really strategically figure out, this is when I'm going to post, this is when I'm going to send out the email, this is when I'm going to do each thing, because all of that strategy and that preparation work is what is going to make the difference on you getting a couple of pre-orders or you getting $10,000 worth of pre-orders from customers that are now going to be a base of customers for you that you can then host with and get residual sales from. So the very first one is the number one call to action that I had, and it's your Google form. I know you hear about Jot form as well. That is one that you can take payment from, but there's a limit. So if you get too many, they start to charge you. So Google form is free. I prefer that one. And I'm going to tell you why strategically every little thing I'm going to talk about has a strategy and a reason for it. And so I'm going to talk on some of those at a high level, but there's a strategy for not taking payments right away. And so I'll start there. So on your Google form, people do business with those that they know, like, and trust, right? And so if you don't know these people personally, and we'll talk about how you're meeting these people that you don't know, then you want to sort of dip your toe into that relationship with them. And a Google form is a really great way to do that, because you're not asking for all their payment information. You're just asking for that top level information. And then it's your responsibility to go and create that relationship with them where they trust you enough to give you that payment information. So then you can close the sale and actually get the pre-order, because getting pre-orders from people that you don't know, it's half the battle getting that contact information. Because even with all the strategy that I did, I had 184 people, I think, complete my Google form, but I only solidified 83 of them. I mean, 83 is still good because it was $10,000 worth of sales, but you see how still with all of the strategy, I only had about 50% come through. And so think about that. Now in the Google form, I'm going to show you what I did for Nightmare Before Christmas. Again, it's something that I watched the analytics for. Every day I watched and I saw how people were answering, and I changed things and I edited things and moved things around to really get what I thought was the most optimal response. And I'm going to tell you and walk you through a couple of those things really fast. If I get too deep, this call will last for hours though, so I'll try to not to go too crazy. I don't know that you can see this at all. I don't have a light on at all, probably not, so I'm just going to scroll through. You can actually, I'll post that here. I'll post the link for you afterwards, so you can just go through and literally copy and paste it. But I start with, and this is really interesting, a small photo, and then their name and their email address first, and then another photo, and then all the rest of the information. What's interesting about that is that I found that having them give your name and your email address right up front somehow made them feel more like locked in to the process, and they filled it out way more, like 50% more than they did otherwise. And so my completions went through the roof once I did that little bitty change. And then the other thing is that whenever I gave them the options, so on the phone, it's going to look a little bit different, but there's check boxes. So you use the check boxes. Now, when I first did this, I added other Harvest Collection items because I'm like, if they like Nightmare Before Christmas, they'll probably also like Book of Spells or whatever. They didn't. I wasn't getting anybody answering those, so I just took them off. So you don't want to overcomplicate the process. The other thing that I did is add a blank area to add any questions or notes or custom quantities. That gives them the freedom to, like, if they're worried about something, if they're wanted something that you didn't have or whatnot, they feel like they had that voice to say something and then didn't just abandon the process altogether. This is a little one, but having their address in two different spots. One, it feels bigger to them to put the whole thing in one. I know it's silly, but it's just one of the consumer behaviors. And also, they don't always put their city and their state. I don't know if y'all have seen this. Whenever you say put your address, it's like, well, okay, great. Well, since I know exactly what your city and state and zip is, and you got to go investigate. So putting that on two different lines. And then I say, I ask them what their Facebook name is so that I can go and stalk them on Facebook if I need to try to track them down to get payment information. The other thing that I always ask, is if they like information about hosting. So I ask it and I give them a scale. I don't know if you can see that, like a 1 through 10, and then I'm joining as a 1 through 10. Those are super important because even if they don't complete the process, the payment, you still have that contact information, the email address, you can still add them to your newsletter, you can still contact them afterwards, like Nightmare Before Christmas people, it's still available. So I'm still contacting all these people. I'm still reaching out, and we'll talk about that follow through later. And then one last thing is I asked them if they wanted to find out information about the Disney villains. And it's because there's a connection there, and most of them said yes. So now they've given me permission to contact them through there as well. Okay, make sure I gave you all of those things I wanted to say. Yeah, and also just watching those analytics. And I'm going to talk about where you can get those analytics in a minute. So, well, I'll start with that, because on your Google form, it's going to give you a long URL, right? You want to make sure that you go to bit.ly, it's bit.ly, and it shortens your URL. But what's more important than shortening your URL is then it gives you access to analytics. So then you know how many people are clicking on that, and then you can compare that to how many people are actually filling out the form. And you can kind of make inferences there on what might be happening. It also gives you some like demographic information. It gives you some insight into what might be going on with your form. So those analytics are really helpful. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is accessory posts, is what I call them. And basically what this means is you want to sort of create this micro brand connection with whatever you're targeting. So like I said in the beginning, I'm not a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan, but you would have not known that while I am marketing the heck out of this thing, right? So I'll show you in a minute, but I'll show you what that kind of looks like. I'll pull that up now. But you want to, I always say it's like method acting. You know what that means? So you become a method actor for Nightmare Before Christmas. I am all in with Nightmare Before Christmas. So with villains, you just want to keep an eye out and document. I mean, anything that you see that's villains. I mean, if you make caramel apples with your kids, you watch Little Mermaid and take a picture of you watching it when Ursula is on the screen. There's villain face mask and villain makeup, villain, it's making me stutter saying villain so much. Or, you know, go to Target, and if there's a costume, like do a funny picture of you doing that. But the main thing when you do these accessory posts is do not sell on those accessory posts. It's really, really hard to do. It's really hard not to even put it in the comments, but don't do it. These have a strategy and a focus for your accessory posts, and it is not for selling. So let me pull up this other one, this other thing I wanted to show you. Okay, so again, it's gonna be hard to see this backwards and on a tiny screen, but I'll just give you some examples. So this first post here, I just am talking about 0, and then I go through and I give the actual poem. It's gonna take forever to load it. So I give the actual poem that says, "Then out from a grave with a curl and a twist came a whimpering, whining, spectral mist. It was a little ghost dog with a faint little bark and a jack-o'-lantern nose that glowed in the dark," blah, blah, blah. That was the first poem that Tim Burton wrote. And that was the first time we've ever been introduced to 0. I didn't know any of that information, but I totally acted like I did. And that made me connect closer with those Nightmare Before Christmas fans and made them feel like I am on their team. I am also a fan, and that is something that they need because, of course, we have 0 that is reflected in the light shadow on the back. And then I have posts like, you know, this is me making packets. Like I'm sending out sample packets, and so it shows them again, Jack is in the picture of the warmer, I'm sending out packets, I'm a real person, I've got my real dog there that's also a weenie dog like 0, so all those connectors. And then my kids are watching Nightmare Before Christmas in August. Not something they would normally do. And what picture do I have screenshot? Very strategic. Took like 72 photos to get that. I even like, what's Jack's Enneagram? So like every day, you know, having these conversations that if I was like a crazy Jack fan, these are real things I'd be posting about, like pop culture. Have y'all watched that on Disney Plus, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And then another one that's strategically important is especially people that you're talking to that you don't know, you want to make sure that they see your face. So it's like, here I am. I'm a real person. I've been doing this for 8 years. I'm a superstar director. That just means to you that I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. And this is the most excited people have ever been, my customer base has ever been for a product. And so that helps again to connect that I'm a real person and not some like weirdo that they just gave their money to on the internet. So that's just a quick example of some of the ideas of those accessory posts that you can do. And you can do those off of your personal page. You can do those off of a business page. You can even set up a separate business page. You might have saw that that was called like Spooky Goods Scent. So that's not my Scent with Love Facebook page. It's a totally separate page. And I actually started that last year. And without going into that too much detail, I've created a waiting list that started last year. So I had really good sales last year too, but these were bigger. And some of that is because I could leverage what I had started last year. And we know that this isn't the last we're going to see of the Villains collection. We know there's so much more to explore. There's so many new warmers, collections, villains to talk about. So if you start something like that, you know that you're going to be able to build on it. And I knew that about Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay. Another thing on accessory posts, you can even change your profile picture during this whole micro branding thing. And then let's see, number 3, quick one, email. So you can send out an email. Now, one little trick about this is if you can add their email addresses to your Scentsy newsletter. So even if they have not purchased from you, you can still add it to where they get a newsletter from Scentsy, from you. And you can edit that newsletter so it's Nightmare Before Christmas focused or Villains focused or whatever, right? Okay, so separately than that, you can send your own email to those customers through MailChimp. But if you don't have a MailChimp account or you don't have time to do that or whatnot, there's a little trick that you can do. You can create your graphic. You can copy that or insert it into Word as a picture. Then you can click it, you can copy it, and then you can paste it into the body of your email in Google or wherever your email is. And that way it shows up in the body, but you don't have to do it like through MailChimp. And then you can add all your addresses in like the blind, the BCC column or the row. And that way they still get that graphic, the graphical element, the visual element of it, without you having to go through and do MailChimp. So just a quick little hack on getting an email out to customers. Okay, number 4 is texting. So of course we can text and advertise this, but I'm going to talk to it in a couple different ways. So how I used it. One is when they signed up on the Google form, then I'm texting them immediately and not immediately, but pretty close afterwards, and just letting them know I got it. They're all set. I'm a real person. I don't live in China. We're good to go. One thing I really, really love to do this, and I'll talk about this a couple more times, is send video messages, because people can tell in 0.5 seconds that you're legit, that you're a real consultant, a real person. And so just sending a quick voice message or a video message, and this can be something that you just have saved on your phone. It doesn't have to be specific. And be just like, hey, and you can, if you don't have makeup on, like totally do it through Snapchat, a Snapchat makeup filter, all the things. So like, and I always have like Jack in the background. Jack, if you see it over here, Jack is in the background when I'm having doing this little thing. And it's just like, hey, I just got your Google form. You're all set to go. You're going to get an invoice on this day. And, thanks so much. You're going to love it. So, you're going to love it, whatever. And then maybe show it to them in person so they can see something. The other thing I like to do with text is you can let them know the day before what to expect, or a couple days before. Like, okay, we're set at 3 in the morning or whatever. I will be getting up in the middle of the night to take care of this for you. You're going to get an email, and I'll let you know that it's all ready to go. You also let them know the day of that it was successful. So I let them know the day after or the day of, like, I got it in, it was successful. I also did a post on that same page that said, got it in, because everybody knows what happened last year. And so everybody was pretty antsy. And so I did a little bit more communication with them just because I knew that was a question that they all had. Plus, I utilized that sense of urgency quite a bit in my marketing. Like, get it so it doesn't sell out in 5 minutes like last year. And now it's available 2 weeks later. Whoop. Who knew? Also, when tracking info came in, I let them know that it shipped. They got that email. I know that, but it was customer service for me to send them a message. And that's also creating those relationships with them, because then we had some other relationship, like, I found out with one girl that she's military and that she was moving, that she wanted it for a birthday. And so I just followed up with those things like, yeah, you got it before the birthday. Yeah, you got it before your wife's anniversary. Yeah, you got it before you moved in the military. And so now I was able to open that conversation to add them to VIP groups and to Facebook. And so those little things give you opportunity to like get one step, your foot like one step closer into the door. And then also whenever you're sending them text, on kind of that last one, I always like to again say thank you and remind them to save my number in their phone with the word Scentsy. So if they need you again, they can just type Scentsy. You don't have to remember your name and you pop up. Okay, am I talking so way too much? Okay, I'm only on point 4 and I'm 24 minutes in. Okay, let me start talking faster. Okay, oh gosh, that's a big one. I don't know if I should even. Okay, number 5, it's the Facebook ad. I say this one with a little hesitation, and it's tricky to share because there can be no expectation of return. What I do, what you do, what Anna does is all going to be subjective to the internet gods, to how you target, to every little word you use. Consumer behavior is a finicky thing. You're going to have varying opinions on if boosting ads is good or not. So I am going to tell you this one in relation to what I did, and not necessarily in like, this is what I think you should do. Okay, is that fair? Okay, so first thing you should know on Facebook ads is I've never done a Facebook ad. Well, and also just to let you know, my previous career, I have a master's in marketing. I worked in ad agencies. I placed Facebook ads for multi-million-dollar companies. And so I have tried my fair share of Facebook ads. I've never been able to get them to work except for pre-orders. Okay. It's because of that people do business with those whom they know, like, and trust. They're not just going to send you money if it's and something about it being available. No, it's that sense of urgency, that FOMO, the step in to not having to give them money, just like signing up a pre-order, and then you're creating that relationship. All of those things are what create the magic. I'm not even reading any of this stuff. If there's something, Anna, that is a question that I'm not getting, let me know at the end. So this works some of the times on pre-orders, but this one just so happens to work really well because Nightmare Before Christmas has such a niche out there too. And I think Villains is going to be really close to this. So another thing I want to say about Facebook ads is it's not going to work as a standalone tactic. So again, you can't just go put out a Facebook ad or boost a Facebook ad for $5 and expect something to happen. That's not going to be the case. Even if you go place an ad for $50 and do nothing else, nothing is going to happen. Okay, it's not a standalone tactic or something that you can just do. And if I had to put a number of hours on what I spent on this, it would probably be equivalent to the number of hours you would spend at an event or out like working the phones with VIPs or whatnot, or probably even more. So it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work to actually make these work. So the other thing that's cool about Facebook ads though is that you get so many analytics. It gives you so much information. I mean, did you know that you can go, well, in Facebook ads you get analytics, and then on your Scentsy website you get analytics. And if you're interested, I have a whole video on your analytics for your website, but you can find out things like the zip code that people are coming to your Scentsy website from. So you can like see, oh, somebody from this zip code went, or this city went to my join page. Oh, that's probably Anna because she lives here and we were just maybe talking about that. So then you're like, hey, Anna, what's up, girl? Right? And so there's so much you can do with analytics, but Facebook ads gives you even more of an insight into those analytics because it lets you know so much valuable information about the age group that is viewing your ads. If it's men or women that are viewing your ads, always do women, not the guys. They're not the ones buying stuff on social media and on Facebook and on the internet in general. So watching those analytics, Facebook just gives you those really good insights. I targeted, I think 21 to 55 or so. I played with those a little bit, and just women specifically, not men. And you can target with specific keywords like Disney villains and Ursula. Like for me, it was Nightmare Before Christmas and Jack and Sally and Tim Burton and, all of the Zero and those things. And sometimes it'll auto populate for you. So sometimes it'll pull up like a Disney villains group, or I don't know that for sure. I'm just giving you an example. Or it might say like the Nightmare Before Christmas group. And that way it is like targeting people that are already part of that group, which is super cool. And that's all within compliance, all totally cool for you to actually do. Another thing on the Facebook ads, when you start, and I played a lot with numbers. I know that's going to be a question, is how much did you do? I really didn't spend very much on that ad at all. I think the optimal amount was about $10 a day. It seems quite a bit because that can add up, but I mean, I was getting 10 to 15 pre-orders a day from $10. So that made sense for me. You always say you need to put on your CFO hat. You want to make sure that you are getting a good ROI, good return on any investment. So if you go and you put $20 a day and you're not getting any pre-orders, then you turn that off right away. You regroup and you figure out what is going wrong. Even after this, even after I got 10,000, I got greedy and I was like, ooh, okay, I'm going to put another ad out now that it's available. None. I didn't get any orders from it. I put $20 on that. I paid like $100 or something for $10,000 worth of orders, but like $20, and I got none afterwards. And so it's all about that pre-order. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So if you do a Facebook ad, you start to get people that comment on it, then you need to do a couple of things. One is, again, I like to answer in those comments with a video comment. Again, that's just that connector. So this is a little trick for you on buy and sell pages too. You know how when you're on buy and sell pages and like it's like 50 consultants, like, oh, I'm a consultant, right? I win it every time. And you know how? Video comments. So you just take a little Snapchat makeup filter video of yourself in front of like some pretty display, and you're like, hey girl, I'm a consultant. I have cash and carry, or whatever you want to say. And then you give them a suggestion, like, I think that you would really like this. You can come over anytime, whatever you want to do. Then you do the same thing in a private message to them, but then you get real specific in the private message, like, look at all of the stock that I have, or whatever that you can do in a one-on-one. I digress. So answer your comments with video answers, and then follow each share. So people will share those, they'll share your post onto their page. Oh, I'm following those still. I'm not just letting those go. So then I will go and I'll follow their share and I'll comment on there too. If anybody needs that. And I got a lot of orders from people that never saw my original ad. It was people that saw the share, that saw my comment on the share. And you can even do things like an incentive, like, hey, shout out to your friend that shared this. If you mention the word share, I'll tell you what my personal special is. And then I gave them something for free. I told them like, hey, if you do this, or if you order, I'll give you a bar for free, or whatever I decided to do on a whim, right? And so those little things just make people jump and take action. Okay. And then follow each comment, answer. I think I got that one pretty good. Okay, number 6 is product posts. So this one's pretty short and simple. So this is just whenever outside of your accessory post, you're posting about the product. Make sure that if you can, using lifestyle and personal photos when possible. You've heard that a bazillion times. Anna knows this and knows she teaches it to you guys. But if you can, do that. You see that even after when people were posting photos, I was posting them as my own, like, ooh, doesn't this look pretty in the house? Like Christina Steinberg had a gorgeous photo in her bathroom. Don't you love the subway tile that's in my guest bath, right? Utilize those. We're a sharing group. And then post. So if you want to be able to boost your post, like I'm talking about with the Facebook ad, you can do that from your business page. So that's not from your personal page if you're wondering how to do that. So that would be something from your business page. Okay, number 7, another short and sweet one is just VIP reach out. Just make sure that you're reaching out to those VIPs, because those are your low-hanging fruit of who you want to contact for getting orders from, but not just orders, referrals. Make sure that you are incentivizing your VIPs to help you get orders. Do you know anybody that would be interested in this? And then give them incentives of their own. I mean, you can do anything you want to do. You can say, if you bring in a Nightmare Before Christmas order, then I'm going to give, and even though you don't like Nightmare Before Christmas, I'm going to give you $10 wax cash to use on whatever you want from the Harvest collection. So you can utilize that as just a referral program. So I'll do referral programs within a specific thing. And I did that also, and people that commented and said, I really want this, but I can't afford it. It's like, let's figure out how you can afford that. If you go and you find 2 more of your friends, because if they're Nightmare Before Christmas fans, they know other Nightmare Before Christmas fans. Go get 2 more of your Nightmare Before Christmas friends. Your orders add up to 200, then I will give you $25 off of this warmer that you want. And I can finagle that as a consultant with my hostess rewards. I got like $1,500 or $2,000 of free stuff from these rewards. I don't even know what to add at this point. So I can figure out how to make that $25 work. So you can incentivize so that any excuse becomes an opportunity for you versus a way for you to just like be bummed out that it didn't work out. You can make anything work out. Okay. Next is the postcard. This was something that was really cool and kind of a fun hack. So you can design any postcard if you want through Vistaprint, but the really cool thing is that you can also have them mail it out for you. And so you just send them your addresses and they will label it for you, they will print it for you, and they'll mail it for you. And it's actually cheaper than if you mailed it because they use their bulk rate that they get for mailing out so much stuff. They get it, your customers get it super, super fast. It's cheaper for you, and you don't have to do anything. And so in that postcard, I gave them an incentive. And this postcard went out to people that were on my waiting list and some of my customers. And I also make sure to always send it to myself so I see what that looks like when it comes in. But what I said on the postcard was, here's your secret code word. Follow this QR code or this link, and it took them to the Google form to find out what you won. And you'll see on my Google form that there's a little drop down. It says, tell me what your code word was. And to keep in compliance, I didn't say this is what you want or anything. It just said, they just listed what their code word was, and I could tell them what they won. And again, it's like that FOMO, like they have in their hand, they won something. It's like, it's guaranteed they won something. They have to go to this form. And then there's something like psychological about seeing something. Like girls, we love filling things out, right? It's like, ooh, I could put my name and my email in here. And it's like before long, you're like putting all your info and you're like, oh, I like that. I like that. And like, oh, you're done. And like, you know, all of a sudden you sent it. And so that worked really, really well too. And it was really fast and easy to do. Okay, let's see. And then the QR code, it took them directly to that Google form, which was fun to do, but I also put in the address because not everybody knows how to work those. And so I made sure that they had both ways that they could get to that. Okay, oh my gosh, I'm almost done, I promise. Number 9 is finding more customers. So you can do this in a bazillion ways, but a couple of ways that you may not think about all the time is Facebook Marketplace. For some reason, all of my team thinks that it's out of compliance to use Marketplace. you can use Facebook Marketplace if you have a product that is current catalog, that's not discontinued, that you're doing corporate pricing, you're not doing a personal special for. Even if it's a licensed product, you can do it. For some reason, that's like a misnomer too. You can utilize Facebook Marketplace, okay? So you can utilize that. You can also do things like, I posted on Facebook Marketplace. You can do it on like the Facebook page or on a post and say that you have samples. I have 10 sample packs ready to go. Who wants one? And you can do that photo like I did of me putting together sample packs. Who wants one of those? And then you can market from there to those people. You can search for keywords and posts from your friends will come up. So if you're in Facebook, you can type in villains or Disney and it'll show you posts from your friends. And then, I mean, a lot of it's going to be your Scentsy friends, but you can filter through those and you can see who else on your friends list has ever posted about villains or Disney or whatever words that you put in. Okay. Also, those 10 free samples, you can also do those in your local buy and sell pages. Those are a little trickier because people just want free stuff. And so it may not be your like Nightmare Before Christmas or your Disney villain fan. It just might be your free crap, fans. Those are a little trickier, but that's something that you can do. Okay. Number 10 is following up. So just like anything else, following up is super, super important. It's important for me to have gotten the sale. If I wouldn't have followed up with these people on text, on Facebook, etc., making sure that I got their payment in, then I probably would have only had, I'm thinking maybe 10 or 15 proactively reached out to me, like, how do I pay? When do I pay? Or sent me the money. So that's out of 83. So I had to go and actively pursue and get that money. And nobody was like, leave me alone, crazy person. They're like, thank you so much. I'm so busy. I kept forgetting about it. There was some that I had followed up with 4 times. And the night before, they're like, oh my God, like I would have died if you didn't tell me, if I would have lost out on this. I was just so busy. I worked the night shift, whatever. And so don't ever think that you're nagging them. You're doing them a great service. I know, because I'm the procrastinator of the world, and you're doing them a great service. Okay, so when you're doing the follow-up, make sure that host and that join scale that you asked them on that Google form, that you're actually utilizing that for something. Like, what's the point if you're not doing something with that? So I've got so much work to do now because I've got 184 people that said that they wanted to host or join or not, and I need to follow up with them. So there's so much work to be done there. Also, for the future promotions, like I asked about Disney villains, so I've got stuff that I need to be doing with them for follow-up. The newsletter, again, if they did not purchase anything, you can still put their email into your contact information, your workstation, and they get the email from Scentsy. Your waiting list. So again, we know Disney Villains is just going to be something that continues to grow. So even if they don't fulfill this order this time, you can add them on your waiting list to contact them for next time. And then you can do thank you packets based on what they sent. So just to show you real quick, I have the holographic mailers that we all love. These are not even stickers that I bought. I just printed these on, you can either, if you don't have sticker paper, which I just had those little sticker paper labels, but if you don't have sticker paper, you can just print these on regular paper and hot glue. I hot glue all the things. So don't even worry about getting fancy with it. Just make things happen. So a couple things that's in here, just a lot of confetti, and now it's everywhere, all over my keyboard. So there's a mask in there. I did a pumpkin spice latte that said Deadly Nightshade with Sally on it. That's the Starbucks label. That's a warmer of the month flyer with sample. I did a thank you for your order. There's my picture and my info. And then what's this was some like, tell them to join my VIP group. Tell them about my monthly themed crates. Tell them about Scentsy Club. And then give them some incentives. If they gather orders from coworkers, they can earn free and half off. And then they can join. And so, and then I just say, thanks again for ordering. You were part of a record-breaking $29 million day and are so appreciated. Hope you absolutely love your products. If you need wax refills, blah, 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 or anything to fill your life with fragrance, I'd love to help you shop, earn Scentsy for free, or start selling too. See inside for a coupon and invite to my VIP group. So I read all that too, just because I think it's important that they know how thankful that you are for their business, because they could have chosen from 200,000 other people, and they chose from you and they don't even know you. So that was pretty cool. So that's just a little thank you note, business card. So they have that, you can put that in the refrigerator. You know, lots of samples of whatever I have. This is a fun little trick. I don't know, hack. I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun. So I have the stickers that are ordered on Amazon. You can get those for like super cheap, a whole bunch of them. But I did a felt sample, and then I did the sticker inside. Now the sticker totally smells like Jack's Obsession. So they can put it on whatever, and it stays smelling like Jack's Obsession forever, which is pretty fun. Now they have a scented sticker. Then I did some wax cash, but I did it in Jack. So now they have $5 free wax cash or $15 off any $100 order. And then there's they have to redeem it by Halloween, which was appropriate. They have product guide. I put all the things in this packet. They have a scent circle. They have a Werther's, which not many got the Werther's because I ate a lot of them. Not very many people got Werther's by the end of it, but yeah, and then there's confetti, and now I have a mess all over my desk, but just a thank you packet. And so some people that spent, I kind of set my own limit, but some people that spent over, you know, a couple hundred, they got bigger ones, and if they didn't spend as much, they got little smaller ones, because again, we got to put our CFO hat on, and sometimes sending a $4 packet when they spent $30 on a warmer doesn't make any sense, because that makes our profit pretty much zero. So we have to think through those things sometimes. But I think, oh, that's almost it. I promise, I swear. Let me just tell you when you're entering these orders in, okay? So what I do, especially because I had so many, this was important to do, and it's the best way that I found to enter LTO orders in. So the first thing I did is I open up a party and I enter in all of the customers' information. So their address, direct ship, all of the information, email address, even the phone number, all of it. And then I put in a fake order for whatever it is that they ordered, so to equal that amount. So that it would calculate my hostess rewards. Then I redeem those hostess rewards so that I don't have to think about it like at 3 in the morning when I'm trying to get this order in. So I go ahead and redeem those. Then I can delete all the fake product, and it still keeps my hostess rewards. It gives me an error. It's like, dude, you did not earn all these rewards, but you just ignore that because it still keeps them. And then whenever it's launch time, you can just go back in and you put in all of those real orders, and then all is right with the world again. And then you're ready to close out the party. And so I do recommend always having a plan B for entering in those through your PWS. So for example, I had my whole spreadsheet here printed out with the addresses all ready to go, exactly what it is that they ordered, so that if I had to, like I did last year, go through on my website and enter them one by one, I had it all right here, and I didn't have to go like cross-reference Google Forms or emails or anything at all. It was just at least all right here printed out just in case that I needed it. So yeah, that's it. Sorry that took so long.
Girl, I was like, keep going, because that is such good content. I know everybody here is like nodding their heads like,
Okay.
yes, like, so good. I learned so much that I know that when I upload this to YouTube, I'm going to be rewatching it again, because there's just so much that you did to make it be so successful. And it was so well thought out. It was not just thrown together a few posts. It was not just throwing some money into an ad. It was actually taking the time, doing the prep, and doing it right. And yes, Steph Ross says, I'm just over here with my mouth wide open, paying so much attention. I did have one person pop in a question. Amy was wondering how you were collecting all the money without paying for a bunch of fees.
I'm not. It sucks, but you got to do it. So I do give them all the options. So, I mean, you have to, as a business owner, if you're not already, you need to set up Cash App. You need to set up Venmo. You need to make sure you're on PayPal, because especially people that don't know you, they need to be comfortable with whatever payment option that you're giving them, and also Square or Pay Anywhere, one of those. So I gave them all the options. I do not give them Facebook option, because Facebook has very strict rules and said if you use their payment system for business transaction, they can shut down your entire account without question. And we know that they have a bias against direct sales and us anyway, so I don't play there. But otherwise, I give them all of those options. I do make sure to put Venmo and Cash App first, because they're better as far as the fees go. And then I really dislike PayPal, so I usually put PayPal at the end. But all of them have fees no matter what. I mean, Square, PayPal, it's a business, it's a write-off. It's not fun, but that's the best thing. You also can do, Zelle, but there's not many people that have Zelle, so you just have to like suck it up with those. And you can charge those if you want to. It's not against compliance to charge people for those fees. So that is a consideration too, if you're on a really tight budget and you can't make it work. But you can also make that work through your Hostess Rewards. So that's basically how I pay myself back for that is, I mean, those fees for that much is really only what, $50 maybe, 50 or $100, I don't know. But I can easily take two $50 warmers that somebody wanted to buy and make those free through Hostess Rewards, and then pocket that $100 to pay for those rewards. So if you're making that much money off of something, then you can find a way to pay yourself back for it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that makes totally good sense.
Yeah. And Vanessa says the PayPal. So yeah, you can use the friends and family option, which is supposed to not charge.
I don't actually go there. I don't actually do that.
Okay.
So what I use is money pools. PayPal has money pools. And so I create a money pool specifically for this is what I did with Nightmare Before Christmas. I created a Nightmare Before Christmas money pool. I turned off where it shows the information when you contribute to a money pool. Usually you see who else has contributed and how much. I turn that option off, so they just see that, people are ordering, but, they don't know how much or, whatnot. So that way there's a little privacy factor there. But the money goes into that PayPal pool. I don't touch that money until right before I go to place the order. Then I move all that money from the PayPal pool to my PayPal account, which has no charge. And then when I cash out via PayPal. Got no charges on it.
Awesome.
It was super easy, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like every time I think I found a way to get it for free, somehow they figure out a way to charge me. But I really like the PayPal Me option, because I can do paypal.me/sent-with-love, my branding, / whatever the amount is, and then it gives them the direct link to pay. And sometimes with people that I don't know, I feel like they pay through that link a little easier, but I have to look into that money pool thing. That's an awesome option.
I love that. Krista said, this makes me even more thankful that Villains got pushed back so I can do the work for a better release.
Mm-hmm.
So true. So there always is a silver lining. As much as we may have had some initial disappointment, that is such a great point. So does anybody else have any questions for Miss Kande? Go ahead and pop them in the chat, or unmute yourself if you'd like to talk directly to her. That's cool too. Don't be shy. Maybe not. I think you may have covered it all with all of your bulleted items on your list.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Amy, there is lots, anything that we want to ever learn, just go to YouTube. There's lots of great YouTube. And Anna may even have a recommendation of a consultant that's created a Google form, but gosh, they're so intuitive and easy, and you find things on YouTube. So it's a good place.
What all do you put on your postcards again? The QR code to the Google form, and then the info and a picture of the product.
Yep. So just the just the product photos and pricing is the front. And I use the 4x6 postcards because that's the cheapest, and so that's pretty small anyway. And then that's color, and then the back is just black and white because that makes it cheaper, and that's just where big QR code link to it. So really straightforward, just the code word, the QR code, and link to the Google form, and then the pictures of the product that just come straight from Scentsy.
Awesome.
Yes, I'll post the Google form link for you. Actually, I can do it right here.
Thank you. And I will copy and paste it into our Facebook group.
I'll shoot it over to you.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. One more. Tracy wants to know how you did your wax cache. Did you have a template for that, or did you design that all from scratch?
Oh gosh, I'm a Googler, so I just Googled Jack, I don't know, dollar bill or something, and I found a picture, and then I brought it into PicMonkey, and then I just edited over it and made my own wax cache. So it wasn't anything fancy. You can see the quality on it is kind of crappy. Like, it's not like a super great print or anything. They don't care. Like, I've tried to give up on that, because you know what, the more perfect it is, unfortunately, sometimes it feels too overdone, and they don't. Have y'all seen that? Like, sometimes when you make like the prettiest, most beautiful graphics and spend the most time on it, you get the least amount of response. And then when you just throw something out there like, oh yes, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so ugly. I like things to be so visually pretty, and it's like garage sales. They get more attention than the pretty stuff. So I don't know what that is, but so it's not perfect. I just pulled it off of Google and just edited it.
Yep. Yeah, Jessica said you feel more human when the product isn't perfect. So
yes, it's right. Oh, it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard.
Well, this has been fantastic, and I'm so appreciative. I know that the rest of the team is too. So thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I love you big. And
Yes.
I will be uploading this, that way everybody will be able to watch it back again and again.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for having me. You'll have an incredible leader in Anna. I hope you'll know how lucky you are. Thanks so much for having me, and I hope you'll have a great night.
Thanks, Kande.
Bye, all.